obviously, that is an incredible loss. But then you don't also think about the fact that you didn't just lose them as numerical additions to your team score. You lost them as people. You lost their energy in the gym. You lost their vibe. It just changes a team every time someone comes and goes.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Season 3 of Flipping Out with Bridget Sloan. I am your host, Bridget Sloan, and this season we are talking all things NCAA gymnastics, from the athletes to the coaches to the insiders who make it all happen. And for today's guest, I'm so excited to have her back on the pod. Please give it up for Olivia Karas. Olivia Karas, the one, the only, the legend. Literally, you're a Twitter legend in my eyes, personally.
I appreciate that. I will take that any day. Like, I don't need to be gymnastics legendary in any way. I will take Twitter legendary for life.
Well, let's not overshadow your gymnastics, but like your Twitter right now is the only one that I really follow. I've considered getting rid of my Twitter so many times, and I can't do it because during gymnastics season, I'm always like, I need Liv. I need this. I need it. So I can't get rid of it.
I don't know if thank you. Coming from you, that means the world to me. But also you're just like, wait, you're like, has she opened wine and has she begun tweeting?
I never think that because I normally have already done the same. So it's fine. Okay. This past weekend, it's the happiest time of the year. NCAA gymnastics. We are back. We are so back. And it was in my opinion, it was the craziest gymnastics weekend.
Yes. Not even a majority of the teams competed.
I just saw that. I was like, hold on. There were so many teams that haven't competed yet. And we're going to try to go over as much as we can. There were a lot of meets, and I know people on the interweb have said coverage. I hear you. I see you. Unfortunately, I have I have nothing to do with that. So I have the meets that I watched. I know you watched a lot of them. So hopefully we watch kind of the same ones, but maybe not the same ones.
I do think though, to your point of the coverage situation, incredible kudos to the teams who literally live streamed the meet.
Yes.
I mean, all of the teams who put out video, a bunch of fans in the stands put video on Twitter, major kudos to the community for just coming together, getting as much out there as they possibly could. It was very impressive. In a bad situation, it was very well done by the gymnastics community. So I was impressed.
So true. That's right. The gymnastics community, they show out. They are not afraid and they show out. So that is really impressive. But so I'm looking at my notes. I'm like, okay, where do we start? I
can't even literally close your eyes and point.
Where should we start? Okay, here. So there were a lot of teams that made essentially their debut in their new conference, which is really exciting. So we have UCLA coming to the Big Ten, whoop, whoop. Utah at the Big 12, Cal and Stanford coming to the ACC, and then Oklahoma to the SEC. If I forgot one, I'm sorry, but I do feel confident there. Did I hit him?
That's a lot of movement. All this craziness in conference switch-ups and everything, we saw so much of it in football, obviously, because their seasons before ours. But it is crazy having seen, Oregon play Penn State in the football Big Ten championship. And you're like, I'm sorry. Oregon?
I know.
Really? It throws you off. And then, you see UCLA this weekend competing in their Big Ten debut. And I'm so excited because it selfishly benefits me. But also, it's so exciting just to have more teams in the conference and to be able to, cover them. And I don't know, it just makes it exciting. But it is trippy. You look at it and you're like, why is Jordan Bowers posting a photo in front of an SEC sign? And you're like, oh, they're in it now.
I know. It's kind of like, wait a second. Oh, okay. Light bulb. Got it.
Light bulb.
Okay. So I have the rankings pulled up. Oklahoma being in first, LSU, MSU.
Go green, go white.
Just saying. Utah, Missouri, also silently.
Love
Yes.
Mizzou.
Cal, Auburn, NC State, Penn State, and OSU. Out of those 10, obviously it's the first weekend. Like, let's
Yes.
not get ahead of ourselves. But there were some big scores that were put up some by maybe teams that you would have said, oh, normally that's maybe a mid-season score.
Right.
So I think that speaks a lot about the talent that is currently in the NCAA gymnastics scene. We're seeing the amount of freshmen that are getting recruited that are outstanding, and it's crazy to me. They are like competing as if they've been there for years. So on Friday, there was the Missouri Beauty and the Beast meet and LSU versus Iowa State that I saw. I've never done a Beauty and the Beast meet. That was like really foreign to me, but I know that schools up north tend to do like, it was wrestling and gymnastics.
It throws you off, and it looked so different in there that you were like, why is there a big, Beauty and the Beast? It kind of looked like a club competition with like each sides of the floor. You warm up in the back and compete in the front. I was like getting flashbacks. I was like, oh, it's a wrestling mat. Never mind.
I mean, I thought it was super cool.
Yeah.
Again, never experienced that. I've never competed in that, but I thought it was crazy cool. But the one thing about especially that meet is Missouri, you looked phenomenal.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
I feel like we've talked about this in years past. I mean, we've talked about a lot of things in years past, but specifically, like, we've always said teams, it's like, this is going to be their year.
Right.
They're so close. This is going to be it. I'm speaking this into existence. I thought Missouri looked phenomenal. Hannah Horton, you go, girl. I want your bar routine. I want it.
From a bar's perspective, I don't know what Whitney is doing because their bars, it looks fantastic. I mean, all of it looks beautiful. What they're doing, they're hitting handstands. Watching Mara on bars too is just like, it just like makes your heart sink. It's just so stunning. But all of them, they're just such different bar workers. And in that combination of the 6 of them, it just worked so well. I would say bars and floor were the standout events for me, besides, of course, Houdat gymnast Helen Hu going on beam. I mean, that's just like,
you have to.
My breath was taken away. But truly, like, bars and floor are really their like gold stars. I don't think they're not good on the other 2, but I think those are their 2 like shining moments.
Those are the 2 events where they can, like, if they're in a dual meet, they can really pull forward.
Yes.
On those events. I totally agree. And I also just want to give a huge shout out to the entire coaching staff because you're right. I think the entire coaching staff has essentially looked at, they look at their team. They know they have talent. What are they missing? It was almost like they were missing that crisp, like the crispiness of their gymnastics. And you could tell that they've put in the work. And it was just really, I thought it was just gorgeous to see them out there, not only having fun, but putting up big scores.
Yeah. I was also excited to see Abby Miller. She used to be an Illinois gymnast, transferred to Mizzou. It was so fun seeing her. It was weird at first seeing her in her signature hairstyle with her 2 space buns with the braids up the back. It was like so fun seeing her in a different environment, thriving in a different environment, but it made me miss her. I was like, oh, I miss you being in the Big Ten. But it's always so nice to see those athletes that you followed for such a long time go a different path and do their thing. And you're just so proud. Like, it was just like a mom moment. I was like, look at her
go. look at my baby thrive. Right? I love that. And speaking of transfers, Amy Weir transferred from Oklahoma to Mizzou. I think it's really nice to be able to transfer. I think back in our day, like, that was very rare. Like, it was just very rare. So you can tell almost that these athletes, they're doing it for themselves. They're making that decision for themselves, which is always, that's always what we're shooting for. But it was Missouri, Ball State, SEMO, and Illinois State. All great schools. Again, I feel like we're seeing so many more quad meets.
Yeah.
In the beginning.
Quads and tries, for sure.
Tries. Yeah. I don't know. I never experienced
hard
it
in the beginning.
Right.
It's tough. It's a different flow, you know?
Yeah.
It's back to back to back. You're not doing the back and forth vault, wait for a bar routine. And that's a majority of season. And then next thing you know, you're just thrown into the 4-ring circus and it's
Mhm.
just a different rhythm of everything. So I don't know. I always thought that quad meets early on were tough because it
Mhm.
just feels really rushed. Whereas later in
Yep.
season, you need a little extra adrenaline. So
Yeah.
you're building on that. But yeah, we are seeing more of those. Like the Penn State meet was New Hampshire, Penn, and Penn State. So it was a tri meet.
Right. That is true. I didn't even think about essentially the flow of
Mm-hmm.
obviously a quad meet you and again, I don't think personally I ever did a tri meet, but I would assume they're similar in the way that it just, you're right, there's no back and forth. There's no like, all right, you just went on vault. I have someone that's going on bars. I have some time to prep. Like that is a totally different mindset. And especially starting off with that, I don't know. Maybe it helps, maybe it doesn't. I, I don't
It's
know.
a nice chance to see more teams. So I'm
For
here
sure.
for it, but
That
it
is
is
true.
different. It's very different than a dual meet.
Yeah. And then we have to talk about LSU versus Iowa State.
I will first and foremost, because there's so much to talk about with LSU, right? There's so
Yes.
much. But I
Right.
want to give Iowa State kudos. They started on bars and it was
Mhm.
a little shaky,
Yeah.
definitely wasn't what they wanted. I thought they rebounded very nicely. I thought they
Same.
put up some really great routines on the next 3 events. Specifically, I thought their beam was well done. So I was impressed. That's a tough environment. You go in there, reigning champs, raise the banner. It's
Right.
emotional. There's just a lot in that space.
Yeah.
And that's quite a test for not just the first week of gymnastics, but like January 3rd. Like
Right. Yeah.
literally happy new year, get on the beam. Wild. So I was impressed. I know it wasn't what they wanted in the beginning
Right.
from bars, but I really do think that it seems I never competed at LSU. It seems like the LSU crowd really applauds good gymnastics. And so I could tell that they were definitely like applauding the gymnastics that the athletes were doing. And I appreciate that.
They do love good gymnastics now. They really do. Yeah. I have always said that LSU has the most passionate fans, and I will stand by that. I mean, I think every team has passionate fans, but yeah, LSU, it's just a different environment. You're totally right. But I want to point out that Iowa State, you know, you mentioned they started on bars, not the best bar rotation they wanted. They bounced back, but what a great kind of way to start. It's a great way to start season, go back to the drawing boards and be like,
Yeah.
"Okay, we got this one under our belt. How are we gonna move forward?" And I think that is it's so important to continue climbing, continuing to reach that goal and not reaching it day one. Because it's like, well, where do we go from here?
I agree with you. I think go back to the drawing board, take it, throw it away if you need to, and build on it. I think that's what gymnastics is.
I know, I agree with that too. It's like the goal almost is to not be perfect. Like, it's to be making those mistakes, don't be afraid to go for it. Don't
I
be
think
afraid
that's it.
to put a little extra juice on that cast handstand
Mhm.
to ensure that, you get up there, because this is the time to make the mistakes, learn from them, and then be able to fix it later down the road. So I totally agree. LSU, of course, coming out hot on
Hot.
vault, per usual. I would like to give a very special shout out. Miss Kaylin Chio.
She is so good.
I I like am speechless talking about her. Well, obviously I'm not speechless because I'm talking. She went 39,575. First ever gymnastics collegiate meet ever. And just walked out there like, "Oh, this is what it is? Okay."
She has such a calm demeanor, but that
Mhm.
doesn't take away the fact that she's icy and like gritty. Like, I don't want
For
people
sure.
to think that that means that she just kind of sits there and like, whatever. Like, she doesn't. She's just very calm and it makes her seem so much older than she is. She's like a very
Yes.
mature freshman in the
Yes.
way she carries herself, in the way that she competes, in the way that she's patient.
Mhm.
I did see her crack some smiles and have fun on floor. Like I could tell she was like, okay, like I get the floor hype. Like, and not to mention she's doing incredibly difficult
Right.
tumbling. Like it's not like she's doing one of the easier routines. She's definitely packing difficulty in there, but I really like her energy and her vibe. And I think that LSU team with the Sierra Ballard and with some of these athletes that just are
Oh, yeah.
so infectious with their energy, sometimes it's really good to have a Caitlin Chiu on your team who can just kind of ground everyone and keep it
Right.
cool, keep it easy. Like I like that. I feel like that's exactly what LSU needed. Not to say that they weren't fine before. Clearly they were. I
Right.
mean, look at what happened last year. But I like this for them. I think it's at the perfect time for this
Yeah.
season for them.
No, I agree. And speaking of Sierra Ballard, did you notice she did a little like bangs were in my eyes? Let me just throw them to the side and do a stunning double layout. I was like,
This might
okay.
be an unpopular opinion, and I would love for people to comment with their thoughts on this, but I think she is the best double layout on floor in the country. I think it is absolutely stunning, and it has only gotten better since she's been in college. I swear it's gotten better. Like, Faith Torres has a gorgeous double A on floor.
Mhm.
Trinity's was to die for
My favorite.
stunning. I just think that there's something about that she gets on
I
that
like
double A
that.
that is so good that like with the
Mhm.
pony,
Oh,
with
yeah.
the like
I know.
flare being first, like I don't know if it's a lot of things, but it works for me and I
Mhm.
love it. Like I just chef's kiss. It's gets me every time.
I totally agree. And I think what was really impressive by her is showing her ability to bounce back. Like she's a veteran at this point. Like
Mhm.
she knows how to compete. She did not have the beam routine she wanted.
Right.
Went to floor and was like, "All right, it's go time." I feel like I'm always impressed with the LSU lineups that they put together because it really is it's strategic, let's be honest. Like it truly is
Totally.
strategic. But you had Aaliyah Finnegan, Connor McLean. I adore you. I adore you.
I really
He's
love that
incredible.
team. I just
You.
really do. I feel like I say it every year, but I just it was so and we were both there in Fort Worth seeing them
Mhm.
win. It was just you just can't help but be happy. And so
Yeah,
it really was it's I don't know, it's so fun to like see a team do that. And obviously I got that
right.
with Michigan in 2021. You got that, you were in it at Florida. And so there's just something about like just rooting for them. You're like, yes, go, do it. Like, I don't know. It just made me I felt like I watched them differently this year.
I completely agree, and I also think there's this element of they've been so close
Yeah.
for a long time. And every year you talk to coaches about getting over the hump, whether that hump
Right.
is getting to NCAAs, like it doesn't matter what that hump is necessarily, but there's always something that they kind of have to get over. So I think LSU getting over that hump, they have their first national championship. I think there potentially could be a couple more in their future. But moving on, the American Gold Oceanside I struggled with it. I'm sorry. I did. I just was very confused. I was just confused.
Yeah. It was hard to cover. Again, we said it
Right.
at the top of the show. Incredibly impressed by fans and schools who kept
For sure.
everyone as informed as humanly possible. Like I remember I was out and about that day. I wasn't like at home. And I
Right.
remember just getting notifications from schools on Instagram saying so and so was live, so and so's doing this, seeing a bunch of people post on Twitter. Like it was great, but it was hard to track. And
Was, yeah.
you think about like that was the first time that Jade and Jordan competed since the Olympics and they were in the same
I know.
place. You just wanted to watch it and experience
Yeah.
it and enjoy it. Not to mention though, just so cool having them back after it's just so amazing seeing them back in NCAA after Paris. And it just is
How
like,
crazy. Like
so what a world we live in. Like, can you even?
we were just in the Olympics, no big deal, but we're back.
We're
We're
back,
back.
by the way. Doing double doubles that are dropped from a hot air balloon, just floating double flare stick lunge like it was nothing. I'm like, it was so beautiful.
We're over here like, so in my dream one time, I did that. Well, and there was a team that made their first ever debut in college gymnastics. Wilberforce, that I love to see schools adding gymnastics. We're so used to seeing teams unfortunately get rid of their programs, and I thought this was just a true testament that it's possible. It is possible to to do it. So, I was really impressed by just them coming out. They looked like they were having a blast. I it provides more opportunity. Let's be honest. Not only is it going to
Totally.
provide opportunity for the athletes and for anybody again who wants to get in those roles, but it's also giving great coverage for the school. Like
Yeah,
it's one of those things you want to knock on their head and be like, "Do you not see the benefit of being here competing in these events that are ultimately going to lead to a better future for the school?" Hello.
totally.
Yeah.
Totally, and, like, one of my highlights of the whole weekend was a gymnast. It's terrible that I'm forgetting her name. I think it was Naya, but from Talladega, she did a floor routine. It was so much fun, and the entire Southern Utah team is, like, dancing in the background and, like,
Love it.
hyping her up, and it just makes you think, like, that's what we get when we do this, and when
Mhm.
more teams, the better, more camaraderie, more
Right.
opportunity for those moments, like, keep giving it to me, like, I want
I
more.
know.
That's the stuff that's, like, we were in that. I have moments I
Yeah.
remember of doing that for another team, or I remembered like a meet being over and it's senior night and you're at the visiting school who's having senior night and you get to cheer on the senior who's last on floor. Like those moments you remember. So
Mhm.
that made me really happy. That was a highlight of the coverage or lack thereof from that meet.
It's fine. But I will say it was really cool again to see you're right, see these schools come out in a very large quad meet. I mean, there were 2 sessions to this, not to mention there was another one going on in Nashville.
Right. Like it was just all over the place. There was gymnastics.
So, from my understanding, there was the American Gold Nashville and then the American Gold Oceanside,
Oh.
from what I gathered. I could be totally wrong, let's be honest. But from what I saw, and then so Nashville was Auburn, BYU, Nebraska, Oklahoma.
Mhm.
And of course, Oklahoma looked great. They looked great. I think everybody needs to remember that Oklahoma did not have the season they wanted last year.
Oh, when you have a mad Oklahoma,
Mad
they're gonna
gymnastics is
mad gymnastics
good
is
gymnastics.
good. One of my I know you will agree with me on this because we share this adoration for her, but did you see Audrey connecting the piked Jaeger to the pack? Literally breathtaking, like, as if that routine can't get better. She woke up
I
one
know.
morning and she was like, "Let's make it better. Why not?"
It was like, "Let's do something crazy."
Oh, I just
Instead
love
of
her.
adding a cast handstand, let's just connect it. I mean, her bar routine tells a story in my eyes. Like,
I
it's poetic.
know.
It's truly poetic.
I love it. Love it.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, Oklahoma, they started off strong.
Yes.
They're a team that can hold that. I think that's something to keep in mind that they actually can hold that, and we've seen it in years past. So, I thought they looked great. I did think Auburn Auburn looked good. I know that there were a lot of mistakes. Like you said, there were a lot of mistakes throughout the whole weekend. That was to be
Yeah.
expected. It's fine.
However, did you see Caitlin Zhang's bar routine with the straight
No.
casts?
Wait,
Oh,
yes, 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 I did. It blew my mind. I was like, "What wait, why are you not?"
absolutely stunning. That's actually up there with some of my favorite Van Leeuwen's too. The way she does it is
Fair.
so stunning. That routine was a highlight of my weekend for me. So, so good.
The real question, do you think you could do a legs together cast, like a cast handstand with you?
How many years do I have to practice? If I tried if I tried a straddle cast right now, I
Ooh,
would need to revoke any award or anything I won in my 18 years of gymnastics. It would be embarrassing. No
yeah.
way. I can't even fathom doing a straight I can't even fathom in my peak of gymnastics doing a straight leg cast.
It's really humbling trying to
Yeah.
do gymnastics that everyone thinks is so easy and, like, why can't you do that? Listen, I can't. Like, I used to be so good at press handstands. I can't even
Oh,
get
you
my
definitely give press handstand vibes.
No, I used to.
I know, but I'm saying,
Let's make
like,
that
as
very
a
clear.
gymnast,
Oh,
you
yeah, that was my
definitely
mouth.
give me exactly, yeah. You give me, like,
Mhm.
that it's easy for me, no worries type of thing.
Yeah, that quickly went away. That quickly went away.
I don't even know what it feels like. Scott Sherman used to have to, like, hoist me up in a press handstand because I just couldn't do it.
I think a lot of athletes can agree to this. We should really give a shout out to those assistant coaches that helped us in our press handstands that actually were doing the press handstand.
Correct.
We were just there. We were the body that they were moving. But yeah, I had a couple of those too. When it was like
And anyone
conditioning,
anyone who presses in a beam mount deserves an award, in my opinion.
I would agree to that. I would agree to that.
Like,
They're in their own league.
it
If
is
you
that's such a good way of putting it, entirely different league.
Mhm.
Like, me and my level 6 straddle mount will just have to do.
Listen, it was all about just getting up on the balance beam. That's all I'm gonna say. That's it. I refuse to Anyway, moving on. Okay, so let's see. We had Utah and was it Utah State?
Mhm.
Okay. I didn't get to watch the full meet, but I saw a bunch of clips from it. McKenna Smith. Hello. Welcome back. I thought she looked flawless.
Yeah, she's so great.
They have a stud freshman, Avery Neff, I believe
Mhm.
is her name. Yep, I saw some clips and I was really impressed. I was. Also, white leotards to start the season off, gorgeous. If I was a gymnast that wouldn't be competing that day. Sorry.
I'm
Anyway.
right behind you.
Okay. So, Minnesota.
Yes. I did not watch the whole meet. Totally transparent. I did not. I was out and about on Saturday. I did not watch the whole meet, but I did see some clips. And my first thing, besides obviously talking about my queen, Maya Houghton, my
Mhm.
first thing that I saw that made me really happy was Emily Cook. She's a 5th year. She was not in their maroon and gold preseason meet. I don't know what
Oh,
was
yeah,
going on.
yeah.
I'm not sure. She had her hair down. She's very long blonde hair. Long blonde hair down means you're not doing gymnastics.
Correct.
And I did see her beam routine and it was really well done. So that made me very happy to see that Emily was doing gymnastics. And then, you can't just Maya Houghton is just mm.
I really actually wait, going back to Emily, she is the athlete that she was a walk-on that is now on scholarship. Okay. Yes.
She has like beautiful lines. She does like the Nastia front aerial swing through on beam. Like it's just so beautiful watching her
Yeah,
do beam. And she's like one of those athletes that if you watched her from her freshman year to now, the confidence is skyrocketed
I love
that
that.
she's gained. So that's like a incredible how college gymnastics really just boosts you up in confidence and opportunity. But yeah, I was so happy for her. But Maya Houghton Floor, it's like she does routines every year that I think are her best, and then she just goes, "Oh, hi, Liv. Yeah, I'm gonna like one more. I try one more." And she does a that. Like, excuse me.
I know. I watched her floor, I watched her vault. Let's talk about how her vault was huge, and it looked like she was so surprised that she
I
stuck it.
know.
And
It cracks me up. She does
exactly,
that
it's like
all the time.
I mean,
I'm like, "You're freaking fine." It's like you stick it half the time.
hey, you know what? If that's how she wants to do her gymnastics, you keep doing it because you are crushing the game. I
Touche.
I did think Minnesota looked really good, and I think again, they're another team that it's like, don't there are so many teams that I wanna be like, "Don't sleep on them.
Exactly.
Do not count them out." Speaking of the next team that I wanna talk about,
Hit me with it.
Michigan State.
I could talk about Michigan State a lot. A lot.
Same, same. I mean, it used to be I wouldn't say it was a secret, but I was, like, silently, like,
Oh, I know you were.
I was like, "Guys, I am pulling for you. I am so here." Now I am like, "No, I think they're a amazing program." Gosh, I love their program. The athletes that they have on that team right now,
Yes.
sensational.
I agree. I totally agree. I know a bunch of people were freaked out that Skyla didn't compete. She's
It's
totally
fine.
fine. Like, it's week 1.
Right.
She's fine.
Right.
I wanna give huge kudos to Delaney Harkness, 5th year,
Mhm.
comes back for her 5th year, definitely is one of those athletes who's like, "I have more in me, I can do this,"
Right.
and changes her bar dismount. She got deducted a lot for that half in, half out off
Yeah.
bars. She had, like, a little bit of, like, her feet kinda did,
Ugh.
like, a little happy feet thing right before she twisted, and she changed it to just a double A, stunning double A. And it just makes me happy. Like, that's a perfect example of probably a combination of her and the coaches going, "Okay, how can we get that
Right.
half tenth back?" And doing it. And, like, your last year ever of gymnastics, learning a new bars dismount? Are you joking?
Could never.
Are we
Would never be
superhumans
me.
here?
I mean, honestly, at this point, yes, they are. And that's the thing. I think I love seeing the 5th years, the seniors, even the juniors. Technically, well, they're the upperclassmen. I love
Right.
seeing them either change their routine, upgrade their routine,
Yes.
even if they take something out, it's like, deep down, they are going to their coach and saying, "Hey, I know that I'm getting a deduction here. How can we work together to make this routine fit me?" I
Totally.
love that. It's so important to make sure that your athlete I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole real quick, real quick. It's so important for your athlete, your daughter, your child, your family to make the decision for themselves. What school is going to help me be the best that I can be? What school is going to help me with the opportunities? Like, there's just so much that goes into it, and it's not all about what school has the best gymnastics team. What school it's like it doesn't have to be like that. Of course, if that is what if that's what they want, go for it. But it's not there's no instructions as far as like this is how you choose a school. And I think we're seeing that especially from the athletes that are maybe starting as walk-ons and then they're getting scholarships. Like it is possible. You don't have to
Totally.
automatically be in the lineup or automatically be on scholarship to have an amazing college career.
And that's why these schools popping up with new programs is so great too.
Yeah.
Because ultimately there's only so many spots on some of these powerhouses, but think about a Michigan State. They didn't even compete at Big 10s in 2021. And now they
I
won
know.
the Big 10 last year. So if you look at schools and you're like, "Oh yeah, maybe their team isn't that great." That might and very well could not be the case when you get
Right.
there. And
Yeah,
so I just think it's such a testament, A, to recruiting,
for
and B,
sure.
to just going someplace that you love, that if your goal is to go somewhere with the best gymnastics team, then
Right.
absolutely go do that. But if your
Right.
goal is also to just find a place that maybe it's not the best of the best in your eyes or whomever's eyes, but you feel really comfortable there, you just never know what could happen.
Yeah. No, I completely agree, and you're right. The new programs that are starting is gonna create a lot of happiness. I'm just gonna say that. It's gonna create a
I
lot of happiness in the
agree.
world in gymnastics, and I'm excited for that. Anything else you wanna say about Michigan State or Western Michigan?
I
That's who
will say about Michigan State that their meet in a couple weeks against Michigan is gonna be at the Breslin Center. It's the first time they're putting gymnastics in the basketball arena instead of Jennison Fieldhouse, and if that is not a testament to the fact that these incredible women can pack Jennison Fieldhouse so it is literally overflowing, that's all I'm gonna say about that. That's incredibly
Mhm.
exciting and a huge milestone, and just, like, I love that it's gonna be the in-state rivalry meet.
Right.
I just love that. I just think there's so much good about that, and just kudos to everyone who made that happen. That's so exciting.
I was always really jealous of, like, in-school, geez, in-state rivalry. I got a little jealous. I did. Like, I
It is
I kinda
fun.
wanted that. Didn't get it, but
It's
whatever.
definitely fun, like, the whole Bama-Auburn thing too, like, it's so
Incredible.
fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed. I did wanna just hit I know that I'm not trying to backtrack, but I did wanna mention that UCLA, Brooklyn Moors,
Oh,
your your floor routine is a work of art.
and talk about first of all, that BJ is a genius.
I was going to say, what is the word here? She is
Genius. But if you think about Brooklyn and then you think about Shea at the end, just total can't eat, not even apples and oranges. We're talking like
Right.
apples and pomegranates. And I've been craving pomegranate seeds. I'm sorry. It's the first thing that came to my mind. But it's like so impressive that she really taps into the athlete and their strengths and what you can tell that these athletes really like the floor choreo they're doing. I think Jackie Turpak's the same at Mizzou. I think she totally is like on her BJ track of like, she just gets it. But yes, Brooklyn Moore's floor, I know it's not a difficult element, but that round off, layout, step out, it's what dreams are made.
It like, again,
So
I didn't get to watch the whole meet, but that was one of the clips that I watched multiple times.
Oh my gosh.
And it was funny. I listened to, so I watched it without sound first because I just wanted to watch it. And then I watched it with sound. And I have to tell you, it was the most just jaw dropping. Like, I just was like, wow. Like, we talk about telling a story on floor. She did it. She did that.
100%. 100%. That brings me to also a meet I'm very excited about. I know I'm bouncing around, but you'll appreciate this excitement that I need to share with you is Michigan State at UCLA, first week of February. Talk about two teams that just have vibe. I don't know how to describe it. Just vibe.
Party. It's going to be a party.
And I wouldn't be shocked. Those are those teams that will have a party on floor before the meet starts.
Absolutely. And
they'll probably have choreo and everything, you know.
As I say, I wouldn't be surprised if there's secretly like a dance being choreographed.
And if there isn't, someone get on that.
Exactly. You heard it here first. I think wait, are you covering that meet?
I will be there. I'm not covering it, but I will be in LA, which I'm excited about.
Oh, that's gonna be a time. Enjoy that. Okay. We do need to talk about Michigan, Denver. And we talked a little bit about Michigan earlier today. And you made a really good point. They're young.
Oh, they're such a young team.
Which sometimes works really well. And so, everyone is going to kind of fall into that lineup, fall into that competing in college differently. Some it's super smooth. Some it takes a couple meets to, get some, I don't want to say reps, but get some routines under their belt.
Totally. Young team, obviously, like you're not just you're replacing Sierra and Gabby, right? Sierra Brooks and Gabby Wilson. 2.99 across the board athletes. So you think about it every time.
Yeah, every time.
So you're thinking about it numerically, and obviously that is an incredible loss. But then you don't also think about the fact that you didn't just lose them as numerical additions to your team score. You lost them as people. You lost their energy in the gym. You lost their vibe. It just changes a team every time someone comes and goes. That's just how teams work in college. You and I both experienced that. So losing them is obviously difficult, but then you have an incredibly large freshman class and they need to contribute. And so it's a matter of how are they going to do? But I have to tell you that my shining star of the meet was Jazara Ranger, freshman, leads off bars. Bars is first because they're the away team. She goes for her cast and it's like, it's an aggressive cast. Like it was an impressive, it was like a
up there.
And then she kind of did a little bit of a body wave and you could tell it was like a balance check. It was like her doing a little shoulder dip on beam. And then she goes for the ray and it's far from the bar. And, she couldn't have caught it. All right. She hit the bar, got she got what she needed to, but she didn't catch the bar and got up, finished the routine. And obviously the rest of the lineup didn't do what they wanted. They definitely made some mistakes and, there's room for growth there, but I was so impressed by how she came back. She goes to vault, absolutely nails a 1.5. It's so beautiful. It's quick. It's lovely in the air. Goes to floor, is so much fun to watch on floor. And then beam, last event, it's your freshman debut and incredible rock on the event, on the apparatus, and then goes double tuck, little hop to finish it off. Like just so impressive to me that she could finish that meet like that after falling. That's mental toughness. And I was very, very impressed by that.
I think you tweeted something about, like, how she's keeping the double back off beam, like, alive.
Yes.
That is I just don't understand how they do that I mean, she's gonna do that every single weekend,
She's gonna
unless
do
she
that
has
every
another.
single day.
Oh, true. You go, girl.
I mean, it is impressive. Like,
That's
when
so hard.
Sierra stopped I think Sierra stopped doing it and she did the round off or cartwheel double full, and then Gabby still did it, and
Mhm.
Gabby's was just gorgeous.
Right.
And so, it was sad. I was like, "Ugh, no more double tuck." Like, it was always a highlight of the meet for me. And, it's a risk, of course. I mean,
Oh, huge,
that's
yeah.
incredibly hard to land. And so it was a lovely surprise. I actually was in the gym in the fall, and I saw her do beam, and I went, double
She's
tuck.
doing it.
And it just, like, made me so happy. So I am a huge fan of hers. I thought that while maybe not from the outside eye, the perfect start
Yeah.
to a collegiate debut, it was, exactly what you said earlier in the show bridge. It was leaving room for improvement
Mhm.
in, like, a way that she's gonna go back in the gym and go, "Well, I'm never doing that again." It's one
Right.
of those things. And it just made me it's exactly how being a freshman's supposed to go.
For sure. Honestly, I think I'm glad you mentioned that because being a freshman is not about being perfect.
No
Being
way.
being in the lineup in the beginning of season, like, I would say by the 4th, 5th meet, you're confident, you've got, you're getting the groove of things, fair.
Yes.
But those first couple meets, go big, do
Yeah,
it, especially as a freshman, like, it is so different being in front of especially when you're in front of an away crowd. Now being
totally.
in front of your home crowd, for sure, it's amazing. I mean, it's the best. It's like every athlete would be like, "Yeah, my home crowd is the best," for sure. But being able, like you said, she fell on bars. Bars just wasn't like you said, it just wasn't the event that Michigan wanted. But then she went to beam and it was like she just put it in the back of her head.
It
Actually, it
was
wasn't
so
even in the
impressive.
back. It was gone. She was like,
Yeah, totally gone.
"Bars? What event? I'm on beam now." Okay, so I did not get to watch this meet, but I saw a couple highlights. I know West Virginia versus Temple, and then
Okay, I do have Denver highlights, though, because
of
I
course.
do think it was a very interesting but good meet for them.
Right.
So, of course, they start on vault, a home meet, and Riley Mundell was not supposed to be in the lineup, goes in the lineup at the last minute, anchors 1.5 stick. Mind blown. Mind
Casual.
blown. Then they go to bars, and I think they're truly one of the best bars teams. I think
Mhm.
their bars is excellent. It's very crisp, very clean. You can tell that they go back to the basics a lot. It
Right.
was really well done. Beam, they had a little bit of a balance beam situation. They had 3 falls, but again,
Yeah.
preseason. So, like, or
Right.
not preseason, early season. So no one's looking at it going, that's an issue. But
Right.
they did. And then they went to floor and they looked great on
Yeah.
floor. I think Denver is always one of those teams that everyone knows they're good, but they never give them as much attention as some of the other top
Agreed.
5, 7, 10 teams.
Right.
And I think they always are just a dark horse at the end of the year, and they come out of everyone thinks nowhere, but it's like, well, did you look at the stats and how their team was
Right.
doing? Like, they look really good. So I like Denver. I was impressed by them, and I'm proud of how they came back on floor after the beam rotation as well. Another great comeback story for a team.
Well, and also Melissa does such a good job, like, such a good job of
Yeah.
peaking at like, she is all about
Yes.
pacing, like and I know that she said that in so many interviews. She's like, I make sure we make sure it's not just her, it's their entire coaching staff. They make sure that they are pacing their athletes accordingly. It is completely individualized, which is probably why at the end of season, people are like, wait a second. And it's like, yeah, you didn't know what they were doing behind closed doors. And let me tell you, they
100%.
were working and they were doing whatever each individual athlete needed. And it shows at the end of season.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more.
Um, okay. Do you have any meets that I didn't hit? Because there was a lot of gymnastics this weekend,
I
like a
know.
lot.
The only one that I will talk about is I watched the Penn State meet.
Okay.
And I was impressed by Penn State. I mean, they have an impressive couple of freshmen in a
Yeah.
couple of their lineups. There's one freshman, Liz Leary, who did all around. And she just looked like one of those competitors that you just put on any event and she's totally fine, like not
Right.
phased. I was very impressed. I was impressed by the fact that they had 3 in a row triple series on beam to start off their beam rotation. Super impressed. Credible
Okay.
difficulty. Was like, snaps for you.
Mhm.
And then this is not a Penn State highlight, but I'm going to say it. A gymnast from Penn, I think her name is Sky. She is the first ever gymnast from UPenn to compete at Yurchenko 1.5. It was a stunner. Stunner, stunner, stunner. Like if you put her in an SEC or Big Ten, again, I hate that I'm saying that because it shouldn't be that way, but
Yeah.
it was well done. And that's like one of those vaults that if she stuck it at the right time at like a regionals or something and made it to
Right.
nationals, it would be a story for the ages because it is really well done.
That's wow. Gosh, the first ever 1.5. Well, and we talk about milestones. Like that's a huge milestone for the program. Like first ever Yurchenko 1.5. Guess what? There will be more after that. So so there was a lot of gymnastics that happened. There was also there is a lot of gymnastics happening this weekend. And you know what? I just realized a team that we did not talk about, but I watched their it would be essentially like an orange and blue meet for Florida, Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
I th- Live. I will say this and I will stand on this hill forever. They looked good. They looked strong. They looked like a different team. And I don't like saying that because I know I I just don't want to put it all on the coaching staff because that's
Totally.
really the biggest change. But they looked confident. They looked really good. And again, that was streaming. Like that was streaming and I watched it and it was honestly refreshing to see them. Because I think a lot of I don't know. I know I have missed, it's such a legacy program. And
Oh,
it
yeah.
was really hard to see the really the athletes. It almost looked like they were hurting in a way,
Yeah.
disappointment. That's what it showed. It just showed so much disappointment. And when I watched them, first of all, Cecile, you're crushing it. You're doing amazing. You're doing everything right. And I mean, Marissa, hello friend, you're great. Their entire coaching staff has like really just elevated that program. So I'm really excited for them. I did want to mention that. I forgot.
I
But
haven't watched it. I watched clips, but I need to go back and
it was really good. I was very, very impressed. And again, I'm just very excited for them. But the Sprouts Collegiate Quad, I don't know why quad just makes me think of Lord Farquaad, but sorry. I like when I said quad, I was like, Lord Farquaad. Anyway, so there is
Shut up. I'm never letting you live that down.
there's the Sprouts Collegiate Quad. We'll say it right. There are a bunch of teams competing in that. And I think that is there's so many like invitationals in the beginning
I
of season
know.
right now. And I don't know how I feel about it, but you have Sprouts is happening. There are, I think, 12 teams.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah,
3 different sessions?
yes, I believe so. And then you have so many teams that are making their debut. You've got, I won't name them all because I know I'll miss some, but I know from the SEC, you've got Arkansas, you've got Florida, you've got Alabama, Kentucky. Did I hit them all? Georgia. Sorry.
Okay. Meet I'm very excited about this weekend that you should be excited about too is Michigan
Okay.
State, Nebraska, and NIU at Florida.
Florida starting things off with a quad meet.
I
I'm here
know.
for it. I'm telling you,
I'm loving that.
are quad meets the new is that just like the new thing? Like
I kind
starting
of
meets
might
off
be,
with
honestly.
I will say, and we didn't hit on this, but a lot of these quad meets and a lot of these like invitational, classic, whatever you want to call them, they are on podium.
That's true.
I mean, the
That's
Florida
true.
meet will probably not be on podium. I don't
Right,
know, maybe it
because
will
it's
be. Who
there.
knows? Who
But
knows?
That's true. It is
Yeah.
adding more podium practice.
And it's also kind of, dare I say, easing them in. Like, podium is a little more
Totally.
it's a little more forgiving. So it's kind of like, all right, hey, let's, we want to start building confidence here. Let's start here, build it up, So maybe
And I'm pretty sure it's an away score.
I have no idea. I
I don't
should
know
know
either,
that.
but
Oops.
regardless, I do agree with the podium ease in. That is such a real thing.
Yeah. You never know. So, wow. So, wow, a quad meet at Florida. That's incredible. So, yeah,
I know.
ladies and gentlemen, quad meets are the new.
I guess
Yeah.
they're the new it thing. In 2025, quad meet. Out duels? I don't know.
No, keep the duels. Dual meets
I
are
know I
so
love
great.
duels. In is quad. I'm not gonna say my out.
Out is negativity.
Ooh, good one.
Where out is negativity on all fronts. We'll say that because wow. Well, so are you commentating this weekend?
I am not this weekend. My first meet is Maryland and Nebraska on January 26th.
Ooh,
So I have a couple weeks. I have a
Yeah.
couple weeks to do my research and
Yeah. It's kind of
watch.
nice not starting like right in the beginning because you can
Yeah.
watch and you can kind of get a feel for like how teams are, how they're. Yeah, I agree with that because I'm the same. I don't think my first one's till the 17th,
Oh, okay. So
which
you have
is
this week off.
next weekend.
There you go.
Woo!
Yahoo! And what meets that?
Oh, Missouri at Oklahoma,
Oh,
which
that's
I'm
great.
actually really, really excited about because hello, Missouri, I'm here for you. I'm excited that Oklahoma is now in the SEC. Like, there's just a lot of things happening with all of the amazing teams in the SEC and really all the amazing teams with Big Ten. Look at the Big Ten coming down to Florida. That's huge. Not only is it good exposure just all around,
Totally.
but it's so nice to kind of break out of sometimes like breaking out of your conference.
I love it. Yeah, I'm excited. That's gonna be one of my I can't wait to watch that meet this weekend. That's gonna be good in 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Mizzou at OU. Excited.
I'm very excited about that one too. That wraps up today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed it. Make sure to tune in each week because we'll be dropping new episodes with the amazing guests that I have lined up for you. I'm your host, Bridget Sloan, and this is season 3 of Flipping Out with Bridget Sloan. Please make sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day. Let's make some good life choices out there, and don't forget to be awesome. Bye, guys.